Hey, Matt Tarrant here, and this is take 2 of the 30-day challenge origin script um, from Russell Brunson on ClickFunnels. Now, why is it take 2? Well, Garrett White, famous ClickFunneler, says the first time you do anything, you'll suck. And not only is this presentation sort of sucking in the sense that he meant, in that I'm not very good at origin scripts and things like that, but actually, I screwed up the hardware, so I had this echo, means you can't hear a word I'm saying, just this boomy sort of voice. So this is take 2. How did I get how did I get into this business tuning? Well, I was asked to do business development for a failing business unit. I quickly learned that we couldn't actually handle any more business because everyone was working flat out and we couldn't hire more staff because we were losing money. So, bit stuck there. See the problem. What I wanted to do was to turn the loss into my target was a modest 20% profit. And truly, I had no idea how to do it if I couldn't use my business development bag of tricks. And I also realized that, as the business development man, I had no authority to go and fix anything else. So from that point of view, what I had to do, what I decided to do, well, I had to take charge. I had to get control of this, have the power to make changes. And I decided that I'd run it as if it was my own business. Now, I dreaded failure because, failure meant at least 15 people would lose their jobs. And of course, the other reason was internal. All my life, I've feared failure. And I don't know where that comes from. No one gave that to me. I seem to have acquired that for myself. I grew up in a family of small business owners. And from them, I got the idea that making your own way in life is just the way life is. And that's a very powerful thing. I'm very happy about that. And from my corporate exec and largely absent father, I got fierce ambition and no bullshit, not inside to yourself or to other people. So I have to claim that my deep-seated fear of failure and the caution that sometimes results, the lack of trying 100%, I have to claim that for myself. On balance, though, I know it doesn't sound good, but on balance, I think it's rather good because the fear of failure, the caution it tempers my ambition and it forces me to provide for my family, not just, today, the good things today, but also putting aside resources for the future so that if something happens, we don't just have like 1 month or 3 months money, we have years. In fact, we have enough to live the rest of our lives on. So back to the situation I was stuck in. There was a wall. I couldn't immediately, I couldn't see a way past it because I was there to market our way out of trouble. And I couldn't do that. So, I thought about it. I thought about it for quite a long time. And I realized, and I'm probably a bit slow at this, but I realized if I couldn't look outside for more sales, more revenue coming in from the outside, I had to look inside the business. And I was helped in this because I researched everything I could find. I Googled rescuing businesses in trouble and plenty of other things. And looked at everything, read everything I could find, and found out that apart from increasing sales, it's pretty simple really. There's only 3 other levers. You can increase revenue one way or another, and there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can reduce the costs of goods, and you can reduce overheads. That's it. Those three are the internal ways. And then, well, those three are the non-sales ways. And I looked at each in turn in our business, and I found horrors, nightmares. We'd set our prices years before, and we'd never raised them. We hadn't raised them, and yet over 5 or 6 years, wages, health insurance, cars, gas, hotels, everything else went up in price. And it doesn't, it doesn't seem much, 1, 2, 3% a year at current inflation rates. But do that for 6 years, and you've taken 15% out. And if your profits were pretty marginal anyway, and they weren't very good, that's just eaten most of your profits, just that alone. And the profits weren't good because worse than not putting the price up, but we didn't even set them properly in the first place. I mean, I don't know how you set your profits. We had looked at other companies' prices, the wrong companies, and we priced ourselves to compete with them on price. This is just mad. And finally, the third problem was we got into the habit of doing free work because we got into the habit of agreeing to crazy terms and conditions. Mad things that allowed the customers to change what we were delivering as we were delivering it. And this wasn't just not good for us, it wasn't good for the customers because we'd never deliver anything. They'd change it. They'd change it because they thought, we've got a better idea, we'll have something else instead, or more, or this feature, or that feature. But if you never deliver anything to the customer, it doesn't matter how little they're paying. It's worthless because you've never delivered any finished product. So not good for them and killing us. And all of this was allowed to happen by the guy at the top. And he'd spent years training his people to work the same way. So my plan had 4 simple parts. The first one, get the authority to act, so that I could treat this as my own business and pretend that it was my money I was losing and really focus my mind on it. Next, I had to change the culture of the team because I didn't have the relationship. I was the new guy. I didn't have the relationship with the customers to have a good negotiation with them. I could be the new guy, the bad guy, the one who was imposing this on the poor person that they knew and had known for years. That's what I needed to do. But I needed to change the way the people were working so they could fit their role and believe in it, and through strength renegotiate things with the customers. We had to raise our prices. We had to stop doing work for nothing. So I said that there were 4 simple things, but actually they're not really that easy to do. Although the easiest to change was to get the authority, of course. My plan took care of that. The second part of the plan was to change the approach of my team. And in truth, this wasn't so difficult either. Once I thought the right lever on them, and really it was quite easy in the end. On this side, they had no job. And on that side, they had a bigger bonus if they worked the way that I wanted them to work. So, no job, bigger bonus. Which would you go for? They went for it. It took some time and some arguments and some gentle persuasion, but it worked out. In fact, pricing wasn't too hard. And many businesses find this. They think they can't change the prices, they can't put them up because all their customers will walk away. And generally, if you're only putting them up 3, 4, 5%, no one will notice. But I needed to put more than that, and people certainly did notice. It wasn't so difficult because I changed the frame. I changed the way the customers looked at us. Well, I didn't. I helped the team to change the way people looked at us, because really we'd priced ourselves in competition, against the wrong competition. We priced ourselves against programmers, but we delivered real value. We delivered profits to the companies that we worked in. And when we went back in and talked to their management in terms of delivering profits, we weren't a cost anymore. We were people who delivered profit, and they accepted. I mean, they weren't really happy about it, but they accepted the higher prices. And lastly, and the hardest to do, was to negotiate out of the crazy contracts, because they were contracts, and although the customer had thought they were getting a good deal, it was their idea, right? It was their idea that we agreed to these terms. So they were very happy with the idea, even though we didn't pay off for them really. But we managed to change them. It did require a certain, how shall I put this, firmness. But also we helped them with this firmness to align our interests with the customer's interests, which was all about aligning the fact that we were never going to deliver anything if they could just change what they wanted all the time. So they'd never get any delivery, and it would never work. But we had to be quite firm, not to say sort of hardball, which was fun actually. Although it's not something you want to do most of the time with your customers. So what were the achievements? I started just after the beginning of a year. It took me a good month and a half to stop panicking about not being able to use sales to increase the revenue because everyone was working flat out, and actually start looking for a solution. It did take a while to change the culture, as you'd expect really, but we started raising prices for new work. And of course, we did have some churn of customers. We had some new work coming in. We started raising prices on that immediately. And this is what you'll find in your business. You raise prices, you can do it tomorrow. You can do it as fast as your sales cycle. The next time you get a payment from a new customer, your prices can be higher, which is what makes raising prices such a great way to start digging your business out of trouble. So that was the prices and the contracts. The contracts, we had to do the culture first, then we could start working on the contracts. But we did that. And by the end of the year, and this was including all the time it took, by the end of the year, we'd made 22% profit, which was 2% above my original target. I was pretty happy with that. That was, the nice exterior result that looked good. Made me feel good, to be true. But for me, inside, it was the growth, the realization that not everything about growing a business is sales and marketing. That in fact, sales and marketing are true. They are the ultimate way, the way to grow your business forever. But they're not necessarily the best way to grow a business that's in trouble, because everything that you throw in terms of new sales, you're leaking out through your costs. And new sales, they don't come for free. Normally, marketing programs, you have to pay money for them. Now, of course, now I know some marketing programs where actually you can get paid to do marketing, which is another nice new revenue stream. There aren't that many of those, and mostly marketing, to be fair, costs money. And it takes time to generate and run a marketing campaign. Some are faster than others. They all take a bit of time, and they all have risk. Most marketing campaigns do not work first time, and some never work. So marketing is not the only way. This is why I do business tuning now, because business tuning is this look inside, this look for more revenue without selling more, which is instant. And if you do it in low amounts, it's pretty zero risk. And it can have some good other side benefits too. And then to look at the costs, I mean, our big cost was rework, basically, or doing free work because the customer didn't agree that we'd finished. Or taking out overheads. I didn't find many overheads in my case to take out, but those are the three things. And that was the realization that I took out of this. That if you want a fast change, look inside. And when you've got a business that's in trouble, you need a fast change, and you need to be able to do it at little cost. Best of all, this propelled me into my next jump. So I've jumped before. I've jumped internationally. I've lived in France for 6 years, Germany for 6 years. I've jumped in type of company. And now I decided I was going to jump out of working for a company and start my own small business, fixing other small businesses, which I'm confident my father would approve of because of the ambition of it. But even better than that, I didn't do it for this. It's a realization I came to after that as I did it, as I moved forward into this, it was the peace, the inner peace of going back to the roots of my family and the small businesses that they built and sold. And getting back into working in that environment again, this small business environment, it just brings me an inner peace. Okay, I'm Matt Tarrant. That's my origin story. Hopefully, I've fixed the sound. Hopefully, it doesn't suck in the Garrett White sense too much. But I think it does need a lot of work, and I'm going to keep practicing. Thank you very much for listening.